should be live now. Yeah, we are live now. Welcome to everybody who is joining us in the meeting with Bruce we have tonight. And I changed my background. You're watching the skyline of my hometown, Zwolle, and you're watching the office of Bruce's wife. Welcome, Bruce. Thanks for being with
Hey,
us tonight.
glad to be here.
How are you doing at the moment?
All good, all good. It's a
Oh,
good
good.
day.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're having a day off because I think a couple of people who know, but I think a lot of European people don't know that we had like Thanksgiving yesterday, and that the most
hmm
of people are having an extra day off just before the weekend to celebrate and to be able to be together with your friends and family in the long Thanksgiving weekend. So you're enjoying it, joining it so far?
So far, it's a rainy day out there,
Okay.
so we're enjoying time in the house, just hanging out with each other. The family's putting up some Christmas decorations right now,
Oh yeah,
so that's a good day.
because the next big event is Christmas, of course.
It is, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. To the people who are with us, can you please leave a short message in the chat if you can hear us and see us? Because we had like last week we had a small problem when we did this same meeting with Jim Casella and Marie Gusek, and then the first meeting we started up, the people could only hear me, and they could not hear Jim and Murray. So if you're with us, joining us in this meeting, please let us know in the chat if you can hear me and if you can hear Bruce as well, because I think that's the most important thing, to be together with each other if you can hear each other. So please, okay, Zach Boland is with us, and he says can see and hear you both. Thank you, Zach. Do you know Zach? Bruce, do you know him?
Oh, Zach, I know
Zach.
Zach. Yes, hi,
Okay,
Zach.
he's with us. You can say hi to him.
Glad he's here.
Okay, Zach, welcome, and thanks for joining us in this meeting. Um, I'm trying to do the best I can to do the meeting in English. I'm not a native speaker. That's what you have been hearing already, I guess. We're talking tonight with Bruce Salyers. He's the president and founder of Salyers Percussion. And as far as I know about you, is that you've been studying music education in Arkansas, and then after it, music performance at the University of Memphis. Why did you change schools?
Oh, why did I change
Or is that
schools?
is that
Well,
is that a common thing to do your education degree somewhere and then go somewhere further and do your performance degree? Is
you
that?
know, I think people do it all kinds of ways. Some
Mm-hmm.
people, kind of stick around in one place if they're really happy there.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed both schools. They're very close to each other, maybe an hour and a half apart. So they were both pretty local to me.
Mm-hmm.
I was a teacher for a while before I went back to school at Memphis, and the degree I wanted actually wasn't offered at Arkansas State.
Okay.
So I traveled across the Mississippi River for
Mm-hmm.
about an hour there and went to University of Memphis. Had a great time there, studied with Frank Schaefer,
Okay.
and
Cool.
worked out really well.
Yeah, because it's not common that you can do music education and music performance as well on every university.
Not all universities, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know about that.
Many you can, absolutely you can, but
Not
that
all.
degree just the doctorate in music performance wasn't offered at ASU at the time. It may be now, I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
but at that time it was not.
So, and that's the reason why you started in Arkansas and moved to Memphis later.
Yeah, yeah. I was living in Arkansas. Went to college in Arkansas, and
Mm-hmm.
just went across the border to Tennessee for grad school.
Yeah, and Did you play it in bands or in other ensembles during your time in one of these schools?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Even as an ed major, I stayed busy playing in every ensemble I could get in. You know, percussion ensemble was probably my favorite, but of course the bands, the wind ensemble, the marching band, the jazz band,
Mm-hmm.
Dixieland band.
Dixieland band as well. Cool.
Yeah, I did that as well. I played drum set in the trombone choir. They had a rhythm section, so
That's
I
cool as
played
well.
as much as I could. I never played in the school orchestra, but I played in a local orchestra at the time. It was the Northeast Arkansas Symphony, and just played all I could.
That's more like a community orchestra then.
Well, a little more than a community orchestra,
A
but
little
but
more
yeah,
than that.
yeah,
They
yeah.
had some pros in it as well.
Local pros,
Local pros, yeah.
yeah,
And enthusiast
and
local
some
pros.
some young, very young players and students as well. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It was a good time.
because did you actually had music as a major or while you were
Yeah, yes,
studying?
music education major.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
the large component of it is music.
Yeah, because like it, I was so. Is it that in because we had like the same situation when you go to conservatory in the Netherlands or in Europe, you could study music education first, and then music education as a second. But now they changed it like a bachelor study and a master's. But
Hmm.
it's just I think it's just a name. You're studying this.
Okay.
You're studying the same thing, but it sounds like a bit more classy.
Yeah, yeah. So
I think
it
that's
has
why
a
they did
little
it.
nicer touch to it.
Yeah, because you played in a lot of bands in school and ensembles. And are there any field trips or competitions you have participated in that gives you good memories? Do you have like a good memory to a special field trip or a competition where you went with one of the school ensembles or bands?
Oh, I do have a memory that sticks out.
Okay. And,
This was from
and
later
can
in
you
grad
tell it here
school.
or
Can I what? Oh,
ca-
can I tell it?
yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I was oh, this is an embarrassing one, but I'll tell you this one. I was a graduate student, so
Yeah.
you have to, and I was a teaching assistant. You work for the school to help pay tuition, and I was a marching band at the University of Memphis, teaching
Mm-hmm.
assistant, and assigned to drive the equipment truck for the drum line to a PASIC performance one year in Nashville, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
And we were at the hotel early in the morning on our way to PASIC, and the I, I was positioned on the street. The truck was parked, and we had a bus. I followed the bus out, and it just happened to be that the bus was positioned really well to turn down this one-way street that he shouldn't have turned down.
Oh my God.
And I thought, oh no, I have to follow the bus. This is in the days before GPS,
Uh-huh.
and I probably didn't have a cell phone.
Yeah.
So I couldn't quite make that turn very cleanly from where I was because I was unprepared for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I hit a fire hydrant with this big truck.
Oh no.
And yeah, very memorable. It didn't really damage the fire hydrant, but it busted one of the tires on the truck.
Oh no.
Oh no, yeah, yeah. I mean, it didn't really delay us. It was one of the trucks, with the two tires on the back.
Yeah.
So, and we weren't going far. So once we got there, I had to spend my time dealing with the repair of the truck. Very memorable trip.
Yeah. Okay. That's a cool story. And what's then because you were telling that you were a teacher's assistant.
Hmm.
What's so when you're on the university, a student, you're helping the teacher out teaching, or what's the title?
That's it. You're just a TA, a teaching assistant. You do what your teacher needs.
If
In
he
the marching band, I would do things like drive the truck or help with the equipment or help clean the drill or things like that.
get him a cup of
So
coffee.
just an assistant.
Okay, it's not like you're helping him out with teaching when he's busy with the snare line. You're doing the quads, or whatsoever.
Well, you could be, but it happened to be at the University of Memphis. They had their own drum staff, so I
Mm-hmm.
really wasn't needed with the drums that much at all.
Yeah, because they had like percussion specialists for every
Hmm.
part of the drum line.
Yeah.
And is that common at universities that they have like specialists for all percussion uh, uh, parts of the drum line, or is it because you hear like in middle schools and in high schools, the most of the time you have like one band director who's responsible for the whole band program, and sometimes they have some percussion specialists. But how is that organized in universities?
I think it really depends on the school,
Yeah, and how
and
big?
what there's funding for, and how many graduate assistants they have, and if they've hired an adjunct to run the drum line. I think it just depends.
Yeah,
So I think you'll find all kinds of situations.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it could be possible that there's only one band director in a university who needs to run the whole the whole horn line and the whole drum line as well.
Yeah, sure. At a small school, that's possible, or the school's percussion teacher may be assigned to also assist with marching band, and they would take care of the drum line then. I think it really just depends on the size of the school and the budget.
Mm-hmm. Because I've been
Yeah.
talking to a lot of people lately, and I did understand if you want to be a band director, and you actually need to play all the wind and woodwind and brass instruments as well, and but is this a part of the education in the on the university as well, that you're learning all the other instruments to play?
It is. You don't become, professional on
No, I
those
know, but
instruments. You become proficient enough to teach, your middle school kids, to get them
uh-huh,
started with no bad habits.
yeah.
So yeah, you'll spend a semester studying, trumpet, a semester studying low brass, a semester, with clarinet, saxophone. That's part of the music education degree.
So you did that as well.
I did, yeah, I did that, and then I was a middle school band director right out of school for I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Um, I really enjoyed that. I liked the kids; they were so sweet. Things like just bringing you little gifts and cards, and
Mm-hmm.
so I liked teaching the little kids.
Okay, that's cool because that was one of
Yeah.
my questions. you you've
Oh,
answered it. No problem. Yes. And what's
jumping ahead.
yeah, no problem. What's the most what's your most favorite other instrument then besides percussion?
To play
Yeah, or
or
to listen to,
to listen
whatever.
to.
Yeah.
I I'm sort of an amateur guitar player.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's not something I studied in school. It's just something I do and have always done for almost as long as I've played drums.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've performed on the guitar just a few times. It's not my instrument, but I've gotten to play some. I'd love to do more. But for a band instrument, I don't know. I was horrible at brass, and
Yeah.
I really enjoyed teaching the woodwinds.
Okay.
So it would probably be a woodwind instruments
Yeah.
is sort of where I favor those a little.
But is it easier to get some sound out of a woodwind instrument than a brass?
For me, it was.
Yeah,
I had no
definitely.
range on the trumpet at all.
No.
My wife was a trumpet player in
Yeah.
high school, so we have a nice trumpet around the house, but
Okay.
nobody touches it.
And then she started playing the piano later on, or that's what?
No, I think it was the other way. She was always a piano player. Her mom was a
Okay.
piano teacher, so she started studying piano very early, and her degree is in piano performance.
Okay, cool.
So that's what she does. I'm actually in her office. I don't know if you can see, but
Yeah,
this is her teaching studio behind me.
keyboard. Yeah. I
Yeah,
see
well, there's a piano back
I
there.
see some clefs on the wall. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And 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 so you already told me you were like a band director a couple of years in the middle school. And where did your fascination for sticks and mallets came from? Did that started at the university already or earlier? or did you had like a small club on school making mallets together, or how did it happen?
No, no, it just sort of grew on its own.
It grew
I
on its
remember in
own.
high school and when I first started college, I didn't know much about sticks or mallets
No?
at all.
Okay.
At all, I just played with what was suggested to me, and I played rock and roll in high school, in a rock band, and I would just buy whatever sticks were cheap in the bucket of cheap sticks
Yeah.
back then. And now it makes sense why I broke so many. I was buying cheap
Yeah.
sticks, but going through college, playing different pieces, accumulating, more knowledge and collection of sticks and mallets. And then it really started, I guess. I bought a marimba. I
Mm-hmm.
was when I left school, I didn't have access to a marimba, so I was teaching at that middle school, and at that time we didn't have a marimba,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't want to lose all the chops, the technique
The
that I had
skills.
built up
Yeah.
over
Yeah,
that
of
that
course.
time in school.
Can imagine.
So
Yeah.
I bought a practice marimba, one with no resonators,
Mm-hmm.
from Doug Demaro,
Okay.
and just had one at home so I could play a lot, and so I became more interested in the mallets I was using, especially on a marimba with no resonators. You get to hear things differently that
Yeah.
way. You don't hear the resonance of the keyboard, so your attack becomes more prevalent in your ear
I
and your roll
fully.
speed and your sound.
Yeah.
So that really got me thinking about mallets, and I made the mistake of trying to wrap my own.
Yeah.
It's a disaster, no matter how much I did it.
You
They
still
were
got those
horrible.
around somewhere?
I would try to do things if I
Yeah.
needed a softer mallet, add a little yarn. I tried
Mm-hmm.
all these things, which I think a lot of people do.
Yeah, of course.
Uh, a mallet, if the yarn
But
frays off, comes
so
off, you
so
might
that's
rewrap it.
that's where it actually started.
That's kind of where it started,
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry, I interrupted.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's where it is. And then I went to my first PASIC,
Mm-hmm.
and on the exhibit hall floor, uh, for the first time, had access to see and hear all these mallets
Mm-hmm.
and sticks, and then I really became interested in what was in my hands and why it sounded the way it did, or felt the way it did, or made the instrument react in a certain way, or why does this stick buzz easier than another. So
Yeah.
I think all that happened right around the same time, and yeah, that's sort of where I grew interested in what was in my hands.
And was that in the time that you were studying at the university already, or was it earlier?
Well, that started at the university, but it
Mm-hmm.
really happened the first year out of Arkansas State, once I
Yeah.
graduated and was teaching.
And one of your teachers took you to PASIC. You should see this, Bruce.
Well, I made a road trip, me and a buddy. He was in, I believe he was already in one of the Air Force bands at that time,
Mm-hmm.
and neither of us had been to PASIC, and it was in Dallas that year, which was a drivable distance for us.
Mm-hmm.
So we made the trip, and yeah, it was life changing.
And how many hours is considered as drivable?
Well, I'm in Texas now, so just
Yeah.
to go anywhere outside of Texas is a very large drive.
Mm-hmm.
But at this time, it was maybe 5 hours.
Yeah. Well, that's okay.
Yeah,
I never do that.
very doable.
I never
Yeah,
do that here in Europe, but only when I'm taking a vacation to like Italy or France, and then I'm driving 5 hours. But the most of
yeah.
the things I can do here in like 2, 3 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a whole different story, but that's for another time. And then at some point you started manufacturing or making mallets yourself, and then the name percussion construction came up.
Wow.
Where did that
Yeah,
happen? Where
a
did that
name I
happen?
don't hear much anymore.
Sorry?
I said that's a name I don't hear much of anymore.
No, no, no.
Yeah. Yeah, I did not start percussion construction. That's
Okay.
someone I met through friends at PASIC.
Mm-hmm.
Um, He was actually a full-time airline pilot, Wally Mulhern. Great guy.
Mm-hmm.
He started percussion construction and was doing well with it. Of course, it wasn't his main thing, but I ended up, really that was during the time after I'd been trying to wrap mallets for 3 or 4 years on my
Mm-hmm.
own, having no success. I remember just asking him once about his wrapping machine
Mm-hmm.
and sort of mentioned that I'd be interested in buying it. And, one thing leads to another, and eventually he's, um, ready to sell it. And I bought it from him and just sort of continued from there. I was teaching at a university at that time
Mm-hmm.
and had, time on my hands to both teach and run this little small
Yeah.
business out of my garage.
Mm-hmm.
If you could even call it a business at that time, more of a hobby.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you did it together with the other guy, and then and then after a couple of years, percussion constructions was taken over by Promark, or what did it happen? Well, how did what happened?
Yeah, it was. A funny thing, that reminds me that kind of everything for me has come back to like just friends and networking and knowing people
Mm-hmm.
and putting yourself in a position to meet people and for them to meet you. And in our world of percussion and music, everything is so interconnected.
It
Um,
is.
I like I said, I met Wally, the guy who had started percussion construction through a friend
Mm-hmm.
at PASIC. I can't.
Yeah.
y- The PASIC is just so important
Yeah.
for many different reasons, but meeting people, networking is one.
Mm-hmm.
That led me to um, actually making mallets and sticks commercially, selling them, and then again through networking and meeting people, for several years, we going to all the conventions with percussion construction. Um, I met someone who worked at a music store who happened to end up later working for Promark
Mm-hmm.
and and meeting other people there too, because you do the conventions and the shows and you just meet people from different different companies doing different things.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing leads to another, and I end up selling percussion construction to them because they wanted to make their own mallets in-house at that point.
Cause yeah,
So
cause
I worked at ProMark after that for quite a while. Had a good time. A lot
okay,
of great people there.
I think that's a great company as well. Cause that was my next question, or what I wanted to know is that Promark didn't have a mallet department probably at that time, or did they
At
make
that time,
some mallets
no, they were outsourcing, and then we're outsourcing some to
outsourcing?
percussion construction at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Probably telling secrets I shouldn't tell. Um,
Oh,
but
yeah,
that's how I ended up working there.
yeah,
They wanted to do more stuff in-house and on their own, and that's kind of what led me there. And that's how our family moved to Texas,
yeah,
where we are today. We're still here.
yeah. So the Promark factory is actually around the corner.
It is, yeah. At least I think it still is.
Yeah. Okay. And then you what was your function at Promark? You were the mallet specialist, or is that what
Yeah,
you
yeah,
did actually?
that's it. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
was the mallet guy.
Yeah.
Of course, it was a small company. In smaller businesses, people do lots of things. Your title may be one thing, but uh, you know, uh, dealing with artists and dealing with quality control and drumsticks and
Mm-hmm.
making custom products for people that you wouldn't consider mallet artists. Drum set artists,
Mm-hmm.
all the rock and roll guys, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So lots of things there. Eventually, we sort of, things happen and grow and change, and I ended up doing more artist relations stuff,
Yeah.
and we hired someone to take care of the mallet department.
Okay, cool.
So I sort of switched
Yeah.
and did more artist relations.
And was like then the takeover by the Dario. the reason to leave Promark and start for yourself again, or didn't that have anything to do with your leaving Promark?
Well, yeah, that was a big change.
Yeah, I guess.
It wasn't the new owners of the company per se, the reason that I left, just that things change, when something
Mm-hmm.
happens like that, when there's a
Yeah.
new owner, and especially when it's one um, that's very large company buying a smaller one. There's lots of changes. Lots of people that I love to work with were gone. They
Mm-hmm.
left on their own or had their jobs sort of eliminated, which happens. And it just like when I started on my own in a garage, and then I worked there at ProMark, which was a much bigger operation, but still like a family. But that whole vibe started to change, and I kind of wanted to get back to doing something where I had more, I guess, face to face contact and
Mm-hmm.
communication with artists and teachers, and um, a little less corporate.
Yeah.
Um, so I thought about, well, maybe I go back to teaching. Maybe make drumsticks some more. Yeah. And I thought, yeah, I had a blast doing the old percussion construction. I'm going to try that again.
Okay.
So we started Salyers Percussion from my garage, and of course, at this time, I wasn't starting out of nowhere. I had a lot of experience and knew people, and knew the retailers, and knew suppliers, and I knew construction methods. And
Mm-hmm.
at this time, I'd been doing it for like 12 years already. So
Yeah.
it was so much easier to start Salyers Percussion than it was in the beginning.
I can
Things really took
imagine.
off for
Yeah.
us right away.
Yeah.
Which I'll always be thankful for all the friends and people that helped us get things going. But I'm where I want to be for sure.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Because you never
Yeah.
doubted, and you never doubted when you started like Salyers percussion, like, oh, I'm going to start a new percussion sticks and mallet company. Is anybody waiting for this? You never doubted to do that, because
Oh, well, if somebody asked me, should they start a stick and mallet business,
you would
I
say
would
no.
say no. Are you
Yeah,
crazy?
I can imagine. Yeah,
The only reason I thought I would be successful is because I had already been doing it for so long,
yeah.
and I had such a great network and connections to the industry already.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that I thought, yeah, I can do this. And I knew I had a lot of products I wanted to make. Being a percussionist myself, I knew what I wanted, and hopefully what other people would want to see. So for myself, I didn't really have a lot of doubt or insecurity,
Mm-hmm.
but starting out, I would give the advice of, are you crazy? No, don't do it.
Yeah, yeah. But it went well at the end. So far, so good.
So far, so good.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I was just wondering if there, by the way, for the people who are following us, if you have a question for Bruce, don't hesitate to ask your question in the chat. If you're following us in another language, I can speak Dutch and German as well, so that's no problem. I'll try to translate. And uh, for now, we're going on with our meet the artist with Bruce Salyers from Salyers Percussion in Sugarland, Texas, and I also noticed when you were started for yourself that you took some artists from ProMark and some sticks and mallets as well. Um, so it um, you and you of course you had a lot of know-how already how to build a stick, how to build a mallet. So you did not have to reinvent everything yourself again. So I think that was a big plus. And when you started Salyers from the beginning, did you start it with mallets only? I guess, if I'm well informed, or did you had some sticks already as
Um,
well in the catalog?
It was very mallet heavy,
Mm-hmm.
very mallet heavy. We did have sticks though. Um, we had some artists follow us to Salyers Percussion, some signature mallet artists, which actually, man, I can't say enough about how great people have been to Salyers Percussion and to me. The people that were signature artists at Percussion Construction who later became signature artists with ProMark and
Mm-hmm.
then later followed me to Salyers Percussion.
Okay, that's pretty
We
amazing.
couldn't do anything without that kind of support.
Yeah.
So, so yeah, we had some artists and some people kind of follow us and be there with us from day one. But yeah, to answer the question directly, we were very mallet heavy when we started out. A lot
Yeah.
more mallets than sticks, um, which we're more balanced now. But in the beginning, you can't start out with 800. I couldn't start out with all these 200 stick models and
No,
all the mallet
of course
models.
not.
So yeah, we started very mallet heavy, which there's nothing wrong with that. I mean,
No, of
you
course. No,
you
of
can
course.
build a great business with mallets only.
Mm-hmm.
But we are definitely a total percussion brand, offering drum set sticks and marching band sticks and concert snare drum sticks and lots of mallets as well.
Okay, that's pretty cool. And didn't you have any problem with like taking over artists who were formerly signed somewhere else? Because I can imagine they had like some contracts.
Yeah, contracts are different wherever you go.
Okay.
Sometimes they're enforced, sometimes they're not. But
Mm-hmm.
with our artist contracts, I don't even like to call them contracts. We call it an agreement.
Agreement. Yeah, that's even better.
And there's no for us,
Yeah.
each company can do their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
We don't set any kind of timelines or you're locked into using only Salyers percussion for 5 years or anything
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Yeah.
Again, it's just part of our philosophy. We want everything to be just friendly and almost, what would you say, like on a handshake, just
Mm-hmm.
if for some reason somebody needs to no longer endorse our brand, that's fine.
Yeah.
We're not gonna hold any legally binding agreement
Mm-hmm.
over you.
Yeah.
It's a friendly agreement. But yeah, as we've grown, a lot of artists and teachers have switched to our brand from other brands for whatever their personal reasons were.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and sometimes they have a contract that locks them in for a certain time. They may actually be using our sticks, but have to not say that publicly for
Yeah.
3 months or 6 months or something, which
Yeah.
which is fine. It's all good.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you first started producing mallets in your garage, was it hard to
Hmm.
build like your first inventory and uh, produce numbers? Because producing mallets is a lot of manual work involved.
It is. It's a lot of manual work
Yeah.
involved. That's why they're so expensive. You go to any web page and just pull up marimba mallets, and even the least expensive is pretty expensive, much more than just a drumstick.
Yeah.
And that's because all the manual labor that's involved. We do have machines, of course, that do the mallet wrapping, to achieve that kind of consistency. But yeah, there's when we were in the garage, I did acquire a couple of mallet machines, which are hard to get on their own.
Yeah.
Um, Again, that's where knowing people helps.
Mm-hmm.
I had a friend of a friend,
Of another
help me
friend.
locate a wrapping machine,
Yeah.
but uh, and we're still using that one today. Um,
But you can go
so
on the
in
internet and search for a mallet wrapping machine.
you can find maybe a video or something of
Yeah.
one, but you can't put it in your Amazon shopping cart, that's for sure. So starting in the garage, yeah, the hardest part about starting any business, I think, is the beginning of it, the
Yeah.
funding. Where's the money going to come from?
Mm-hmm.
Because it takes money to even acquire your first customer. So what if you've got a mallet wrapping machine and a great mallet? If nobody knows about it,
I
you're
do.
not going to sell any.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, so yeah, in the beginning, in the garage, wow, that seems like so long ago, even though it was not really that long ago. We had our, of course, I could never park in my garage again after that, but
No
we had
cars.
some work tables and a wrapping machine
Yeah.
and all the basic tools, sanders and drills and
Mm-hmm.
saws, all that was set up. And we just went to work and doing what we do, mallets, and then again, you can run an ad all day long. Until people get it in their hands, nobody cares. It's really about what it sounds like and what it feels. So PASIC, 2013 was
Mm-hmm.
kind of our first time out of the garage to
Yeah.
show people our stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, it was hard back in those days.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, it's hard to start. Yeah.
Zach is asking a question as well. He says, "I'm curious about how Salyers gets their foot in the door with new retailers. How to have additional stores carry their products?"
Ooh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Retailers, especially the ones that don't specialize in percussion, um, they don't care. They only
Yeah.
want to sell what their local customers want. So, I tried contacting retailers and sending them samples and sending them all of our information.
Mm-hmm.
And but it really comes down to, do their local customers want it? So um, that's what you've got to do. You just have to have people want your stuff, and then the retailers, they just came on board. We get calls every week, it seems, from new retailers with new people in their area that want our stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
at first, that was hard. It's one of those things, I think, where success brings more success. Like
Yeah. I
some
I
people
can
found out,
imagine.
more people found out, and then more people found out, and it's almost organic at this point. It just grows on its own.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. But how do you get like? Because then my next question would be, thanks for the question, Zach. That was a great one. My question would be, how do you get then your stuff if nobody knows it? How do you get it under the attention of the consumers?
Yeah, that's the magic
Yeah.
question right there. If you get any good ideas, let me know. Um,
Yeah.
what really, I think, worked for us, and this may not, everything, everybody's different.
Yeah,
So
of
many
course.
factors involved,
Mm-hmm.
timing and all that. But if you have a good product, that's what it has to start with, and then for percussionists, it's all about getting it in their hands.
Mm-hmm.
Once it's in their hands, then they'll make a decision. I like this. I don't like this. And beyond that, I think what we do pretty well is just try to be approachable, be friendly
Yeah.
people. Offer great customer service, and and it's just gonna come down to individual relationships for us.
Mm-hmm.
Just meeting people, they enjoy the product and working with us. They tell their friends. So ours has been a very word of mouth sort of beginning to our business. Just friends telling friends, because we had no marketing budget.
No.
We had no marketing team.
Mm-hmm.
It's me and my wife and
Yeah,
like
but
$5. That's all we've got.
yeah, I think that's a pretty important what you're saying. Being approachable and being friendly and yeah, I think those are important things to make it in the business. And yeah, okay, cool story. Thanks for that. And when you start up a business like this, yeah, you of course you had some experience with other businesses, but how do you know where to get like the good quality parts like handles, balls, glue, cord, and all those kind of stuff?
You have to, man, just experiment and search and find and sometimes create it on your own. Just years of working with different people, and we found what works for us. We've found people we like to work with,
Mm-hmm.
um, and and it's a constant search. Like I'm always looking at different yarn manufacturers. I've visited some in Texas for custom yarn winding,
Mm-hmm.
for the mallets. So yeah, it's just like how you find something for your own home use. You try different brands, you find one that works, and
You're going
you
to
start
home.
using it.
You're going to Home Depot, and that's it.
Yeah, yeah.
But I
And
can't.
one
I can't.
one advantage I think that we have as manufacturers, once we got to the point where we could buy in large quantities,
Mm-hmm.
it became much more easier to approach, say, rubber ball manufacturers to
Mm-hmm.
get different things customized for us.
Oh, okay.
But just trying to buy, 100 of something, nobody cares. You're going to get what they have.
Mm-hmm.
But once you're into tens of thousands of something, then
Then it's
it
going to be
becomes,
interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And what happens if for example you're buying a specific rubber ball somewhere at a company and they decide to don't make it anymore and the mallets you're using with it selling like crazy. Are things
yeah.
happening like that?
Not that specific thing, but other items, yarn has gone out of production.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, you just have to search and, have relationships with more than one vendor.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I don't know what causes this in me. I am very concerned about redundancy. I
Mm-hmm.
always want to have, with suppliers and even machinery in our own shop. I never want to have one of something, whether it's a tool, a wrapping machine,
Mm-hmm.
or we laser etch our logos on a lot of sticks and mallets.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want to be in a position where one tool or one supplier can bring you down
Yeah.
or
No.
cause a major disruption.
So you have always like several more options for the same product or same machine
Always
or
have a backup. Yeah.
that's good. That's a good thing. And um, yeah. Um, and yeah, you just told me just a little bit, but are you doing a lot of tests with different kind of cords and a different kind of yarn before you're selling it? Because you want to know if the quality is all right before you're putting it out on the market. Are you doing a lot of tests, or are you working with a team from teachers uh, who are you sending some mallets to test the quality of the cord or the yarn or
Yeah, all of that.
all of that?
We do a lot of testing and playing around here. Everything begins sort of with me testing it. And then
Mm-hmm.
if I think, oh, this is promising, I may send it to a friend or a school or because feedback's really important.
Yeah.
I may have started, a lot of Salyers percussion kind of on my own, other than things that were already uh, kind of available through, from signature artists that we were working with. But getting other people's opinion and input is so important, not just on the quality of the material, but on the stick or the mallet that you're making.
Mm-hmm.
Um, y- uh, because I've played in the jazz band in school, but I am by no means a jazz drumming expert, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the people we work with are way more important than just a customer or somebody
Mm-hmm.
to help tell people about your sticks.
Yeah.
The input that's really the value in relationships with people
Yeah. One of the things you're famous about.
and getting input from other people all
Mm-hmm.
the time.
Okay. Cool. You're not moving anymore. Oh, you're back. You were like 5 seconds not moving anymore.
I think I've lost you.
Oh, we're back. Oh. Okay, we're in the middle of our meeting with Bruce Salyers, and I think we've lost the connection with Bruce. So if you're having a question for Bruce, don't hesitate to ask it and send it in the chat. We'll trying to reconnect with Bruce, but I see some moving heads there already again. Are you with us again, Bruce?
I see and hear you now.
Yeah,
So
okay, that's cool.
you're with me. Am I with you?
Yes, I am. I am. Yes,
All right.
we had like a small connection problem. Um, um, what my experience is with your mallets is that the quality is good and they last very long. And I think
Good, good. I'm glad.
those are one of the USPs of your company. And how can you guarantee that? Because I've also, of course, I played with a lot of other brands, and there are some brands that like um, they're gone with after a whole marching band season,
Hmm.
or indoor percussion season. And what kind of special things do you do, or how is it hard to find yarn or cord that lasts long?
It is hard to find materials that last long
Mm-hmm.
and sound good.
And sound good, yeah,
Uh,
because
a lot of materials that sound the best don't last
okay,
the
yeah,
long, um, and vice versa. Sometimes some materials that last a long time don't sound or feel good.
yeah,
So the trick, the magic there is to find one that's good for both.
mm-hmm,
Um, so that's what we try to do. Um, the mallets that seem to take the most beating are the marching band stuff.
mm-hmm,
So we do have some things that to make them last longer, not come unraveled. Um, but it really comes down to the material
yeah,
at the heart of it.
mm-hmm, yeah. And I was just asking myself because the most of the time you're using birch and yarn for marimba mallets.
I
And
didn't get that. Sorry.
okay,
I
no
think we got
problem.
connection issues.
Yeah, I'll repeat it again. Are we with each other again? Are we back? Oh, I'm waiting for Bruce to be back in the meeting. I don't know. It's getting. Are you there again, Bruce?
Hey, I hear you.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Great. Um,
Yeah,
um,
it sounds much better.
okay. Cool. Most of the time, like a birch handle and yarn wrapping is standard for marimba mallet, and the other way
Yeah.
around with a rattan and cord is like standard for vibes. Why has this become like a business standard?
Um, why? I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, for some people, it's not, I can play with a yarn marimba mount, I mean, a rattan marimba mallet just as easy as birch.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I, I don't know. I mean, there are reasons why I think people prefer one over the other, but yeah, I don't know. That's just, at least here in the United States, that's kind of the standard. I know we do some things internationally more on rattan for marimba mallets.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but here in the U.S., birch is by far the most popular for your marimba mallet.
Yeah. Because when I need to switch between marimba and vibraphone on a gig, or which we don't have at the moment, but that's another
Right.
story. And then I prefer to play with rattan, because if you need some do some dampening stuff on the vibraphone and switch to marimba right away within a second, then I always play with chord and rattan.
Sure.
And in some funny kind of way, a marimba sounds more pop jazzy with chord than with
Yeah.
yarn. I don't know why, but
I think just the pointed attack that chord wrapping has.
yeah,
Yeah. I know exactly what you mean.
yeah, okay. And we briefly discussed the marching mallets, but do you need to use different yarn or cord for marching mallets than the mallets you're producing for concert percussion stuff?
Our current mallets that we offer that are sold as marching band mallets
Mm-hmm.
are different materials than what we would use on a concert mallet. Both are synthetic, long lasting. Both sound good on the instruments, but it is definitely a different kind of yarn and cord.
Okay, cool. And because I'm working with a customer who's using the marching mallets, I guess for the third season in a row without um, um, getting the cord broken. So that's pretty amazing.
That is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
That's good. But I hear that from time to time. People will post something and tag me on Facebook or somewhere like that about, I can't believe these mallets have lasted 2 seasons or 3 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think it's because we use really good material. We do some extra steps in our stitching,
Mm-hmm.
and they're just gonna last quite a while. I can't promise everybody's will last that long. It
No,
depends
but
on what you're playing and how much you
yeah,
play
of
and how
course.
you play.
And what
Um,
kind
but
of
we hear all the
bars?
time about how
Yeah.
long they last.
Yeah. And do you pay some extra attention to the yarn or the cord, how it behaves in a bad rainy weather? Because I can remember that we did some contests in I think when I marched in drum corps, like in the south, where it was raining like an idiot, and the contests were standstills because the corps couldn't march on the field, so rainy it was.
Yeah, sure. You want mallets that are going to do well, even in just really humid environments.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the South, and everybody here knows that um, there's just moisture everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it helps using the synthetic materials that we use. They don't absorb water so much and contract and expand and slip around.
Yeah, cool. And now, of course, after the mallets, you started with producing sticks as well. And if I'm well, you started with marching sticks. Um, isn't it always a gamble with which model sticks you should start? Because there are so many different marching sticks on the market already, and isn't oh yeah, what model you should start with selling,
Right, yeah. Um,
or kind of model,
with
because you can't copy, I guess, one on one.
right, and right. A lot of sticks from the various manufacturers are similar because
Similar, yeah.
just because we're all making them for the same activity.
Mm-hmm.
So, they're going to be in that standard marching size and length and, with variations in tip size and
Yeah.
tapers and that kind of thing. But when we first started our first model, because we had one model, I wanted that model to be very general, nothing too thin, nothing too fat,
Mm-hmm.
no super long taper, no super short taper. We made it
Yeah.
very down the middle,
Yeah.
and it worked out really well. Some people liked it because when you have one model, you have to hope that that model will please the
Yeah.
most people.
Yeah.
Now we now have mini models, so there's a little more variety there. But yeah, picking that one to start with was
But that was the MAS one.
so down the middle.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. The connection isn't that well. Your head isn't moving anymore. Oh my gosh. The connection is getting worse until the end of the interview, and I've got a couple of more questions.
I'm sorry, I got connection issues again. Can you
Yeah,
guys hear
yeah,
me?
yeah. I can hear you again. We're back again.
Okay, I hear you now. I couldn't there for a second. Sorry.
Okay, and yeah, because that's the follow up question. Because actually, you need to reinvent a new marching stick, and did you take like the best things of two worlds and put something of yourself in it, or How did the process work to create a new marching stick?
Well, now it's different. Now that we have several models of different types available, um, now it can be more personalized to
Mm-hmm.
me. Back then I wasn't as concerned with what does Bruce like to play with. It was
Uh-huh.
what's going to please the teachers that are currently teaching marching band at high schools.
Uh-huh.
That's why I picked a diameter I thought was appropriate for most high schools. Not too thick, not too thin. Very Goldilocks, I guess. Can't have the hot porridge or the cold porridge. It's got to be just right.
Yeah.
Um, and now we offer them sticks with different tip shapes, different tapers, all that.
Yeah.
So we're starting to expand and fill in some more specialty gaps now.
And who came actually up with the idea of the fulcrum point, the thumbprint on the stick?
I think that idea has been around for forever of people like using a marker, or
Yeah.
I used to use stickers on mine. And we just decided let's do that for the teachers. 'Cause when we started
Mm-hmm.
Salyers Percussion, I did not mention that I was teaching a lot of private lessons.
Mm-hmm.
I knew starting a business, I still needed an income of some kind,
Yeah, of course.
because selling sticks wasn't going to pay the bills when we first started out.
Uh-huh.
So my wife and I both built up really big private teaching studios.
Mm-hmm.
And I was teaching both at my home and out of a retail location. And one thing that I always did for my kids, 'cause I was teaching a lot of small kids, um, was keep a package of stickers in my bag
Mm-hmm.
just so they could develop consistency with where they hold it.
Yeah.
Eventually we all develop a feel that we like. Some people might hold further back, maybe up a little more. Um, so with our fulcrum finder stick, we chose the point on the stick that had the most bounce. Again, not necessarily where my particular fulcrum might be,
Mm-hmm.
um, but where the stick's going to bounce the most, so that if the student can just hold the same spot consistently, they'll develop a feel rather than just picking it up in a slightly different spot each time.
Mm-hmm.
And those sticks, that's one of our biggest selling models every year, is the fulcrum finder, which is great. We needed something to call our own,
Yeah.
starting
That's
out,
cool.
and that's been one of the things that I think has had teachers, just telling their colleagues, try these out with your beginners. It really helps. So that was a really good thing for us.
I think mainly the sixth and the seventh graders, the starters.
Yeah,
Yeah, for those. I mainly use this.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but then I did it last week with a student, and then she came back a week later, and then her thumbs were above the line already.
Uh, yeah. Having it on the stick, like in a classroom situation, you've got 6, 8, 12, 15 drummers in a room,
Uh huh.
just having that quick thumb check.
Yeah.
They all get it all at once, and it's very self-intuitive. I mean, it's a thumbprint. What are you going to put there?
Yeah, of course,
Your
your thumb.
thumb, I
Yeah,
hope.
yeah, of course. It's a good move. Um, Last thing I wanted to ask: are there can we expect some new products from Salyers next year? Are you having big plans to go to trade shows again next year, or
We
develop
do.
a line of products? What nothing has to do with drumsticks or mallets. Any big
We
plans?
have several things in the works. I mean, there's always so much going on behind the scenes,
Uh huh.
and not being able to really have conventions and trade shows for the past year. It's given us a lot of time to experiment and play and discuss what's needed. We hear from teachers all the time. Um, from phone calls and messages, and we have a great group on Facebook for the endorsers where
Mm-hmm.
they talk, and even if people aren't talking directly to me, I get to see what people are talking about, and it gives me a place where I can talk directly to a whole bunch of teachers all at once.
Mm-hmm.
But Um, so we've kind of taken all that and come up with a lot of new things to offer. I don't know if we're going to put them all out at once. There's some different stick models. There's some stick models done and produced and logo stamped on them, ready to go that we're just kind of sitting on right now.
But marching sticks or drum set sticks, or both?
Um, the one that's ready and stamped and ready to go is a concert stick.
Okay, cool.
Um, I will probably use it on drum set as well, but we're marketing it as a concert stick.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we have some mallets. We just released not long ago a new double-sided practice pad, but we now have a third practice pad
Okay.
that's almost ready.
Mm-hmm.
We're working on a new bag, just new mallets. There's lots of things in the works. Some really big things that are going to come about this year.
Okay, so we can
Yeah.
expect a lot from Salyers next year.
This is going to be, I think, a year to remember for Salyers percussion. I'll just say that.
This or next year?
This coming year, 2021.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, not just because of the new products, because we put out new products every year. There's
Mm-hmm.
just some really good things we're excited about that we can't talk about yet, but
Yeah, of course.
2021 is going to be phenomenal. Yeah,
I won't ask.
yeah.
Okay, and
I wish I could tell you more. It's very
no, no,
exciting
no,
stuff,
no. I
but
can
but
I can understand. You won't tell everything. That's
no, my lips
reasonable.
are sealed
Yeah, of course I understand.
for now.
Okay, cool, Bruce, and thanks for talking today. I had I learned a lot because I wrote down some questions today about producing mallets and sticks. I wanted to learn, so I run a lot. And Zach has another question. I forgot about it. I'm sorry. How does the Salyers family bring balance to their life? How they avoid burning out from working so much? He says, "Ha ha ha!" behind it.
Haha.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, my wife works with me three
Mm-hmm.
days a week at the shop, so
Mm-hmm.
we get to see each other a lot there. My daughter is home from college. She came home yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
and when she's home, and in the summers, she works at the shop with us, rather than get a job, in retail or fast food or something.
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, even if we're working, we're kind of together.
Hmm.
So it's definitely a family business.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Zach, for asking your questions and being with us today. That was nice. Um,
Yeah,
Thanks a lot, Bruce, for this hour to be with us and answer our questions.
absolutely. Thank you
I
so
um,
much.
I hope you have a great holiday season, and of course, I wish you all the best for 2021. And I hope we can do a little bit more business in 2021 because this was like for me business wise. I think if I it was it was simply a bad year. So
I,
we're
yeah,
building that up in 2021 again.
yeah, we're hoping for a much better 2021 all over the
Okay.
world.
Yeah, of course. Okay. Everybody, thanks for being with us. And if you have, um, I won't be here next week on Friday with someone to talk because we have like a small national holiday here in the Netherlands, which is called Sinterklaas, and we celebrate that on the 5th of December. But a lot of people are celebrating that one day earlier, so it makes no sense to do an interview on the 4th of December because that's next week. And keep in touch with our socials, what's going to happen after that. Uh, Everybody, thanks for being with us. Have a great weekend. And Bruce, stay just for a couple of minutes. And thanks again. Have a great weekend and see you next time, everybody. And thanks for watching us.
Thanks, everybody.